So I'm sure that none of you guys have ever been over the 60 mile per hour speed limit on Highway 61. But hypothetically, if you did, completely hypothetically, you might be craving more. You know, once you go 5 miles and over, what's stopping you from going 10 miles and over? Once you go 10 miles and over, what's stopping you from going 15 miles and over? And the cycle continues. And thus is born the crave for more speed. This crave was first introduced to the world whenever the first car came out, and I'll get to that in a second. So before we get into talking about the world's fastest car, first we need to understand how a company officially claims the record. According to Eleanor Segura, an author at automobilemag.com, the requirements to claim the world record include driving the same route in opposite directions, being a production vehicle a regular customer can buy, and running on street tires, and performing the record speed on a public road. So basically what that means is that, say this is a public road and I'm a car, if I go one way, at like 70 miles an hour this way, okay, and then I stop this way and they'll probably wait 2 hours or something to let the car cool down, and I come this way and I go 90 miles an hour, what did I say, I went 70 miles before? Mm-hmm. So then my top speed record would be 80 miles per hour. So it's a two-way test, and then they take the average of it. That way they can account for any grading in the road or wind that's happening that day. So it's kind of an interesting test. I would have thought that they'd just run a car and see how fast they can make it go, but that's not actually how it works. So now that we've covered how to set the world record, I want to show a few of the most interesting cars that have at one time held the world's fastest car in history. So this right here is the Benz Velo. It was produced in 1894, and it had a top speed of 12 miles per hour. This car was actually the first car that was a production car, so technically it's also the slowest production car in the world of its year, but based on definition, it's also the fastest. It had a top speed of 12 miles per hour, and it had a 1-liter engine with 3.5 horsepower. If you can go to the next picture. This is the Healy Elliott. It was made in 1946, so about 50 years later. And it was the first car to top 100 miles per hour. So they made a lot of improvements from the Benz Velo in 1894 to the Healy Elliott in 1946 in just 50 years, which is crazy that, you know, they had this invention that came out and were working on it and had a production model out, and then in one lifetime someone would have seen a car go from barely even able to outrun like a nothing, and then seeing a car that can travel faster than they've ever seen before. So that'd just be really crazy to see. It was only 50 years after the Benz Volvo. So then the next car that we have is the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL, and this came out in 1955. I'm kind of skipping a few in between just because I don't have time to cover every single car on the list, but this is a really cool car because it was the first one with those butterfly doors like that, and it's considered one of the first supercars ever. It had a top speed of 140 miles per hour, and it had a super cool design. Definitely nothing like it out there, and most of these days sell for about $1 million. It was also the first engine that Mercedes-Benz made with fuel injection. Okay, and then the next car is the Ferrari 250 GTO. This came out in 1962. It's just a really neat car. It's super curvy and extremely aerodynamic. So they focused a lot on the aero of this car, which is how the body cuts through the wind. It had top speed of 158 miles per hour, and it was a homologation special to win the manufacturer's GT championship in 1962, 1963, and 1964. So it was a really, really impactful car. And then the next car is the Lamborghini Countach. This was the LP400, so 1974. This came out in response to the Ferrari, and this started the Ferrari-Lamborghini rivalry that we have today. And basically what happened is after these two cars came out, then Ferrari and Lamborghini just battled for that top spot for about 15 years, and a lot of really cool legacies came out of this car. So then, if we skip all the way to today and go to the last picture, today this is the.
That is the last picture.
Oh, it is. Go up to the first one then. No. Yeah. This is the SSC Tatora, and it recently broke the top speed record of the Koenigsegg Agera that just broke 300 miles per hour, and this one has a top speed of 316.11 miles per hour. So extremely fast car, and I think this one is like one of 30 models or something like that that you can buy for upwards of $15 million. So really expensive car. It'll get you down 61 fast enough for sure. So yeah, that's all I have.